Hello and welcome to a look at Highnoon for the Commodore 64, a game that was released by Ocean. There's no space in the title, so I assume it's called Highnoon, not High Noon. And if I'm not mistaken, that is a pseudo reference to a film by roughly the same name, if not exactly the same name. But that is sort of where the references stops. Except for the music, of course, which is virtually playing at all times, so if you do not enjoy that tune, you are in for a treat. Regardless, you are the sheriff of Highnoon, which is one of the smallest towns in the Wild West, because as you can quite clearly see, it's got about a third of a hotel, a jail, a saloon, a bank, and an undertaker, and then there's some sort of indication of a building to the right of the undertaker, but let's just pretend it's the outhouse, shall we? Why not? Some bandits have decided that Highnoon is an excellent place to conduct some uncertified banditry, and decide to try and steal the gold from the bank and the girls from the saloon, and you being the sheriff, of course, you don't necessarily agree that that is such a good idea, so you go out in the middle of the street packing your trusty 6-shooter. I was about to say, it is basically a Gatling gun in a 6-shooter form, and take on all challengers. The bandits will appear from various different directions, and some of them will beeline directly for the saloon or the bank, and some of them will try to shoot you on the way there, and some of them will try and do both. And your job is to shoot them before they reach what they're trying to reach, and sidestep any shots being fired at you, which is likely a good idea because, of course, getting shot is likely not a particularly pleasant experience. Once you've done that for a certain amount of time, as you can quite clearly see, you get to draw against the leader of that particular group of the gang. And it's just a question of hammering the fire button, because you can't draw early, so as soon as his black blob is showing, which is his gun, by the way, you, by hammering the fire button, can shoot him instantly and win the bonus points that you have accumulated by shooting bad guys on the way. Each new wave will add a new challenge for you to deal with. The second wave will add riders, and then the third and fourth wave will add individuals with dynamite, which will try to run up to you and give you a stick of dynamite to hold on to, which is not recommended. You probably want to shoot those guys before you get there. And then eventually, once you have defeated enough waves, you will be allowed to approach the gang itself and put a stop to their activities once and for all. Let us cover the interface, shall we? Top left, you have your score. And if that surprises you as to what that is, then I can safely say you haven't been playing an awful lot of computer games. To the right of that, high is not the game trying to be friendly, it is indeed the highest score of the day. The bonus is a bonus that you accumulate by shooting bad guys and preventing them from stealing stuff. It has a default value of wave times 100, and then you add on top of that, and once you have done the showdown with the bad guy at the end of the wave, you will be given that bonus as extra points. If you lose a life at any point, your bonus will reset back down to the wave default. To the right of that, you have symbols indicating how many lives you have left, and in case you can't count the symbols, the game is making it obvious by having a number to the right of that, indicating how many lives you have left. So, it's a double whammy for some bizarre reason. I don't know why this was necessary, but they did, apparently. While the technical aspects of this particular title may not be the most impressive ever seen, it is a game from 1984, and for that era, this type of graphics would have been perfectly acceptable and outright decent. It is a bit blocky, but you can easily identify what you need to identify, and as such, the graphics are serving the purpose they have, which is to display things for you to look at and be able to distinguish from other graphical effects. So, I do not have any complaints about the graphics at all. The sound side of things, the sound effects are somewhat basic but very fitting for the game. And of course, the music, which is virtually playing at all the time. If you're familiar with the original tune, then it should be very easy to recognize what tune it is. But personally, I don't mind it. I have learned to just turn a deaf ear to it after a while, though I admit it can be a bit repetitive. It is worth noting that there are several different variations of this particular tune. For instance, the title tune is somewhat different from the in-game tune. It is a minor thing, and yeah, not worth drawing too much attention to, but still worth noting. The controls are what you hope them to be. Left, right, up and down will move your man in those directions, and the fire button will be used to shoot your gun. If you hold on the fire button, you will lock yourself in position and facing. So it is recommended to minimize that kind of behavior, because it makes it incredibly difficult to avoid getting shot at if you can't move. Yes, this is a single screen shooter, and a relatively basic one at that, but in all honesty, it's entirely enjoyable for what it is. And looking at some of Ocean's other titles that was released later, this actually belongs in the upper half of the quality of their releases, I'm sad to say. On that note, thanks for watching, take care, see you next time, bye bye for now.